I'm going to make a series of videos on how to be successful when making leaps at the keyboard. And there are a lot of different situations where these apply, and they're all slightly different, whether you're making contrary motion or parallel motion in the hands, whether you're making octaves or single notes or chords. But there are some basic things that underline all of them, and let's start with that basic principle today so that you'll be more successful in how to practice your leaps. In fact, I once asked a teacher of mine how I could be more successful at this, and his answer was a little unsatisfying, and that was, he said, pray. So let's find some simpler possibilities that you can check in your own playing. And we're going to look at an excerpt from the Schumann Toccata, a piece that every pianist should work on. It has a million difficult technical problems. Let me first show you the excerpt. So the left hand has a series of jumps. Now, let's look at three things that you can do to make sure that your leaps are successful. First thing, look at nature. When something moves through space, it tends to move in an arc. There are no excessive motions. So if you throw a ball, it's going to make an arc in the air, and there's not going to be any kind of bumpy motion. As I move from here to here, you'll notice that my hand is making a streamlined arc. That's the first thing it's doing. And when you're learning a piece, you'll find that your hand will probably do something like this. Exaggerating, but it'll get lost along the way instead of making this clean arc. So as you're practicing, remember your hand is going to remember anything you teach it. So if you teach it the wrong way to get there, it's going to remember that. And as you practice, your motions are a little bit like sea glass. It starts out jagged, but over time, erosion breaks off the edges and smooths everything over. So I want that arc to be very smooth. Second, you'll notice that my hand is making this small grabbing motion. And sometimes I like to throw something at my students to see, catch them off guard, not violently, but to see if they, how they catch some things, because they make this motion all the time. So if I go to catch something, my hands reach out this way. And they almost always catch it too, because they're used to this motion. Now, you'll notice that my hand is making the same motion in my fifth finger and my thumb. Watch how it reaches out. And in the air, I'm exaggerating quite a bit now, but in the air, my hand opens. And to facilitate that, what it has to do is my wrist has to drop slightly, which sends my fingers in the air, and they make that small grabbing motion. Let's watch it in context. Second thing, I almost always find that once a student has the right sense of technique of how to do this, that they always, I shouldn't say always, but the majority of the time, their temptation will be to get to the leap too soon. And their instinct is probably going to be that they're going to try and get to the leap too late. So they try and compensate by getting there quickly. So I will usually pad that leap to take a little bit of time, like a kind of rhythmic speed bump, just to slow me down slightly to make sure I don't get there too soon. Note that also I'm thinking lyrically in that to sing a fifth, G to C, that's a different experience than doing just a whole step or half step. I would have to take a little bit of moment of time to sing that, and I'm always thinking in a singing manner. Third thing I want to make sure you think about is keep your leaps light. Now, in this case, it's marked fortissimo, and then very soft after it, and then fortissimo. But what I'm really doing is I don't want to play both notes equally loud, because if I play the first note loud, that's going to create tension in my arm, which is going to make it harder to move in a simpler and more relaxed manner to get to the C. So I only keep one of them loud. In this case, it's not that I would do this formulaically, but what I would do formulaically is make one note louder than the other. In this case, I'm playing the downbeat louder, the second note. So, small change. Try these three things, and then we're going to make a series of other videos that relate this in other situations involving the many possibilities with your leaps. Happy practicing, and pull out your Schumann Toccata, take a look at this measure. right hand has other problems, but this is a good place to take a look at some simple leaps in the left hand.